I am learning Portuguese. I'm finally learning Portuguese. Now, one of my goals for 2026 was that I finally learn Portuguese or start learning Portuguese, at least get my B2. Okay, B2 is a bit high, but at least get the A2. So I put it in motion. So what I did was, since I cannot afford a private lesson, I decided to go to the government office, the job office, to sort that out. Now, I'm going to talk about the process later, but I think it took me this long because of my experience learning another language prior. First, secondary school, primary school, we had to learn French. And I remember that in primary three, my French teacher beat me on my head with long chalkboard ruler. And my mom had to come to school. I think my auntie came to the school to talk to the proprietor of the school. And I don't know what happened to that French teacher after that. I didn't see her anymore. I'm so sorry, but she hit me on my head. And those days my head was very big. And because I was a premature child, everybody thinks that my head is where the thing is at. So nobody wanted to mess with my head. So I think that drew me off throughout primary school, even though that could have been a learning experience. Then in secondary school, it was compulsory from JSS 1 to 3, that's junior school 1 to 3. I think I did my best, but I think my teacher was a bit, there was one that was a bit kind and quiet, and there was one that was like me. Now that I'm an adult, she had like the force that sometimes when I tell people, I'm like, I wanted to be like that lady. Like, I'm a teacher like that lady. She was a bit, strict and stuff like that. So I think it scared me a little bit those days. And when I got to senior school, it was not compulsory, but I think I should have taken it a little bit seriously because now that I am a historian all through the years, French has always been a thing. So that was my experience with French. Now, the next experience was Mandarin when I moved to China. And I moved to China to actually study the language. That was the first thing I actually went to do. And I had done that for 2 years. But so many other things happened along the way that I was like, man, I need to get a job because number one, students could not work. I know one day I'm still going to tell my Chinese stories when I finally have the guts to do it because there's something that place does to you that you can't even talk about the place is a bit like crazy. Like you would think that is off limits. So I pray that one day I finally get the guts to talk about my experience in China. Now, I started learning Mandarin, go to like the University of Suzhou University to they had a learning class to do that. I think the first 3 months I wasn't getting anything because I was more focused about survival than learning the language because it was my first winter. It was very cold. I had no money. Somehow I got cut off from my accommodation. I could tell that story in a few years' time when I'm okay with that story. And so I had money problems and stuff like that. So I didn't think I really focused on that class. And like we were always trying to get a job and at the same time be a student. And if you get caught doing that, so that affects your mental health, number one. But I was still trying, I would go for the test. And language schools are always like hard work. Like if you've ever tried to do language school, it always feels like you're doing a master's in a course. Like it's like hours, it takes like hours of your day, and they are probably teaching you grammar that you cannot even grab right now. So it was a bit difficult, but I think I started picking it up in the streets. I started picking up market phrases. So I could literally buy something. Even till today, when I go to like Chinese stores, I don't speak Portuguese to the IEs because I don't speak Portuguese yet. They speak Portuguese and Chinese. So I respectfully ask if they are Chinese. And she don't go around. And they, like, first of all, they'll be like, a black person, what did you just say? And I was like, okay, I'll say it again. Then I would say, hello. I would say auntie hello. If it's an auntie, I would say aye hello. Like I would say it in Chinese, like auntie hello or uncle hello if they're older than me. And I would have a blown conversations in the Chinese stores. And most times I get dajo, like I get discount because I would always ask for dajo and they'll be like, oh, okay. And sometimes I get discount. Sometimes they're just very friendly, which I like. I also do it in Chinese restaurant respectfully. So I do that because I don't want to forget that language because I intend to build more on it. And I think one mistake I made with that language, Mandarin, was that by the time I started understanding what was going on, I started learning a lot of slur words. I recognize when people don't like me or when they're talking shit about me as a black person. So it got to me a lot. And by the time I entered the international school community as a teacher, I did not really need to have full blown conversations in Chinese. Because and I even learned more from my students. I learned more from them because they would have conversations. I could ask them. It was a very neat learning experience from my students because they would say things and I would ask them for the meaning, or they would make an expression and I would ask them for the meaning. And there were so many crazy situations that made me learn a few words. For example, I learned the words "fu" because a student had written "f your mama" on my exam paper, like all 8 pages of that exam paper. I think that was when I learned the word "f your mama." So those kind of things pushed me back from continuing to learn Mandarin. So when I was coming to Portugal, I was like, what if I learn now and I understand and people start using slow words and people start abusing me? I mean, it's all a part of it, but I was still a bit, scared or traumatized from that experience. And I was like, okay, I don't want to do that yet till I can, I have my legs down. And when I got in, I didn't really have the time. So I tried Duolingo and I discovered that Duolingo was Brazilian Portuguese. Not because Brazilian Portuguese is a problem, it's not a problem. It was because it was more like textbook Portuguese than real life Portuguese. Like you're saying it and nobody's understanding you. And you're like, did I just call somebody's mama? Like, so I stopped with Duolingo, and Duolingo has this pressure. Like that little bird keeps appearing every day. "Oh, do your work." I'm like, no, I'm trying to survive, okay? I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying to move accommodation. I'm trying to stay away from bad friends. So Duolingo bird, I don't have your time, okay? I'm trying to grow my edges. So I think I stopped using Duolingo. I tried Busu. I actually liked Busu, but also all the apps were a bit overwhelming for me and everything was like overstimulating. And with the PhD, which I was struggling with, for the first 2 years, I struggled in class. I struggled with brain fog. I struggled with theories, especially that I never heard before. I struggled with being late because I missed the whole semester. Then I struggled with night shift. So once I don't get sleep, I can't pick up a book and I don't understand what I'm doing. So that was a whole lot for me. And I was having like serious issue with some of my friends that was also affecting my mental health. So it was a whole lot for me for the first 2 years, even till now. It's still a whole lot, but I'm learning, I'm seeking counseling and I'm learning how to like push all the negatives back, you know? And I told myself that after I submitted my proposal, my PhD proposal, then I will have a little bit of room to wiggle and be able to learn Portuguese. So what I did first was that even though I'd finished my proposal in September this year, I started learning a few words by myself. There was this book that I found in London when I traveled, Hugo book, but I've not had time to read it. Although it comes with an audio, but I've not had time to read it. It was a lot of grammar for me, and I'm like, okay, are we going back to that Beijing textbook grammar? I can't do that. So what I did was 2 weeks ago, I decided to go to the IEFP office, which is the government office for like vocational programs and getting a job. So when I got there, I decided to, get a little bit of information from them. So what they told me was that I needed to pre-register first. So they gave me a time and they sent me a text message. It was even very fast. I thought it was going to take long. So they sent me a text message and they told me that they had booked an appointment for me to come register. So even though I already got this type of text like last year, but I think I wasn't serious with my life last year. I mean, related to the language. So I can say it wasn't really a thing for on my list that year. So I waited a little bit. They gave me a date to come. So when I got there on that date, I was early. It was raining cats and dogs, but girl, you fell learn Portuguese. So mumurasi, muwanojo, mugbera, you know. So when I got to IFP, I sat down with the lady. The lady was really nice. Ma'am, if you ever watch this video, you were so kind. So she explained everything. She said I had not registered before, so she got my details, my name, my highest degree, what languages that I speak. Girl, I speak 3 languages or 4. So I gave her all the details. She was like, Yoruba, do they speak it in other countries? I'm like, yeah, they speak Yoruba in Brazil, in Togo, and Republic du Benin, and a little part of Ghana. So she was like, wow, I don't, yeah. And I told her that I had like, I mean, I'm intermediate Chinese, so I know. So I put that down. Then she said, that do I understand a little bit of Portuguese? I said, yes. Now, weeks or days prior, anytime I'm take a taxi or I go somewhere, a restaurant, or somebody's having a conversation with me, Portuguese speaking person, what I do is I ask them to teach me a word. So for example, I would ask taxi drivers or somebody that I meet on the road that strike the conversation with me. I would say, can you teach me a word of Portuguese? I think I watched that from a video. So when I say that, they actually like it. So the last one that I did a few days ago, the cab driver taught me days of the week. So I actually know days of the week. I know that Saturday is Sabado. I know Sunday is Domingo. I know Monday is Segunda-feira. I know Tuesday is Terça-feira. Wednesday is Quarta-feira, I think. It's more like 4, Quattro, Quarta-feira. And I know that Thursday is Quinta-feira. And Friday is, I think it says Safira. I think I need to learn that again because it's almost related to the number 6. So I think with that moment, that was the only thing we had conversation about in that cab, and that stuck with me. So I told him also to teach me how to say hours. So those are the ways that, besides being able to say, there was a day I also learned how to say I want, I'm learning all together. My pronunciation, I'm gonna guess it. Give me a year or so. And also my colleagues at work, they also teach me a few words when I am in the mood, and that has really blessed my soul. So today I was so surprised that you could do it online and you could do it in person, because one of my fears was that my school has a Portuguese learning program, but this semester they moved it to Alcantara. And Alcantara to my house is like an hour plus or 1.5 hours by public transport. And I'm like, they close at 10. If they close at 10, there's no way I'm going to meet work at 10:30. So I said, I'm not going to do that. And I know that it's a very hard process, like it's very intensive. So there was no way I could do that. So what I did was, I didn't sign up. So I told them today when I went to the work, to the online place that, to the IEFP office, the work office, the government office for work. I told them that I wanted to learn online, and they said, "Oh yes, there's an online program." And they told me you could choose morning, afternoon, or evening. And they also told me that I could share with other people. So if they have slots, they could put in other people. So one downside is that probably you don't get the subsidy, because there is a subsidy for lunch and for something else, especially if you don't have work. But for me, I have a job, so I don't think I'll be getting that subsidy. And because I chose online, I might not also be getting that subsidy. So because I'm not taking transport to the place. And because I'm at home, possibly I may not get the subsidy, but they told me to ask if I can still get the subsidy. Hopefully I can, hopefully. And if I can't, my target is to learn the language, then go do a vocational training. Yes, I want to do a vocational training, maybe hairstylist, because somebody needs to do our hair and speak English at the same time. So I'm gonna do vocation. Either I do hair or I do something related to design. So, but I can't do any of the computer courses because it stops at 8:29 and I'm way older than that. Okay, so, if you're trying to learn the language, make sure that you go through the government office. But if you can afford a private class, then good luck to that. Good luck with that. Okay. So, and I think my main target with this is to be able to do that vocational school and vocational program. But the vocational program, I can't do it if I don't understand Portuguese because all of them are done in Portuguese. And from what I can see on the website, it's you can also take the vocational school online if and you can take it in presence like presencia and distancia, something like that, so you can take it like that. So that is all for now. And also I want to wish you an almost Christmas. And to the Japanese family, I know I said I was going to close the group. I am still going to close the group, mainly because I need to focus on my YouTube channel. And you won't believe that even when we talked about supporting my YouTube channel, nobody goes there because analytics don't lie. I have not had followers in months, like in 8 months. Most of the time, I think in 8 months, I've only had about 72 followers. And I have like over 400 people, or almost 400 people on the group. And the group has been taking so much, I've been dishing out so much knowledge that I should have put on my channel. So I think, and my channel is the most legal way for me to make money out of this. So if my knowledge is blessing you, I am grateful for that. But my knowledge is not making way for me, which is bad. And I know that God gave me all these answers that I gave you guys. God gave me for a reason. So this knowledge I have is for a reason. So if it's not making way for me, then I need to change my strategy. I have tried everything. I've begged you guys to subscribe. I've begged you guys to watch the videos, share the videos, but analytics don't lie. I have not, it's been 1 year, and since I remember there was a time on the group that I told people to please help me share the videos and stuff, and I only had about 70 something watch hours, and it's been like 6 months. So like people prefer that they were getting so much knowledge from me, which was a blessing for them, but I wasn't getting anything back from my knowledge. So that is why I'm changing my course. So anything that I feel so much joy. I sat down and I remember that when I started this channel, I felt so much joy just making videos. So I think that's what I'm going back to. So if you have any questions, you can always use the website and talk to me there. And also, you still have some time to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to my website because I will share details there when admissions start opening up and any other thing I feel like writing. So if you subscribe to my website, which is thejackmanation.com, and my YouTube channel here, you can always reach me in the comment section because I always reply to comments. So thank you for everything. See you next time. Okay, bye.